51. So I'm just going to give a little bit of time for peeps to just because you know what I do. It's usually impromptu. It's when spirit says go. It's when I have a little bit of excess energy. So all of those factors have to come into one for me to do a video. But yeah, just uh, just as a quick recap, how the Hello Neighbor series was started as a homage to the legendary, awe-inspiring, and wonderful work of Reverend Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and in a way that I don't think anyone else has quite done since he basically brought the lessons of compassion and love to probably millions of people in his decades of service and work. So, whilst I am no Mr. Rogers, I do try to create a community space where people can actually just talk, bring up other issues, where it's not just focus on the astrology or the deep metaphysics of spirit or whatever else that I usually talk about. So this is more space for the fam, as it were, and also just to give you quick insights on what's going on, tell you funny stuff that happened, and so on and so forth. So let's see who's here. Let's acknowledge who is about. Do we have anybody saying anything? Let me know. Oh, I see Michi. Hi, Michi. How are you doing? So far, we've got Michi, and we're waiting on a couple of more folks before we get into the swing of things. I do have something interesting to report. Two cats, a black and a white cat, have recently started using the front porch as a refuge. I don't know why, because this is an area where there are a lot of cats, yes, but people are usually, you know, they're a little bit more careful with their cats. But we've got two new cats here. We haven't adopted them or anything. They're very well fed. They probably belong to someone, and they just kind of just want to come and sit and hang out. So my little baby has been sitting at the window looking like this for the past 2 days. It's nice. I think they bring a good vibe, and they're just kind of here for support, which is a great thing. So we give them a little bit of food, and we just let them come and go as they please. So that's a nice thing. Michi wants to know how am I? Well, I am doing my best. I started looking into something called bioresonance therapy, and I went and had a reading yesterday. It's a very computerized system of picking up the different frequencies in your body. I was really impressed because it actually picked up stuff, various health issues that I have had since childhood, and I didn't say a word. I was stunned. I was like, "Oh my God, how the heck would you know this?" But I was really impressed, and it was and as I was actually sitting in the therapy, I went into a state of meditation. I mean, they also said exactly where I thought my level of health was, which is apparently pretty bad, and I need to do something, otherwise things are going to get a lot worse. But I also know why, and so on and so forth. But it was nice to have an external confirmation. And they even have a way of looking and to see whether this is psychologically caused or whether this is a physiological issue or if it is a spiritual issue, which is when they kind of go question mark in their systems. Of course, it was a question mark. But it was amazing. I was really astounded. And I'm looking into it because now I'm like geeking out at the possibilities of all of it. So it was as they were in as I was actually just doing the treatment, they started off with electroacupuncture, and I went into a state of meditation because I go into meditation easy, and I started getting an understanding of what was going on. So as I was looking at, and I was actually doing a regression whilst I was in a state of meditation, I was looking at some of the foundational issues that would have created dysfunction in a particular system. And um, and then later on, when I came on and I asked the doctor, okay, what program did you run? He said, oh, I was focusing on such and such part of your body. And that is precisely what I was zoning in on. So it was a very interesting complementary experience. I highly recommend looking into it. I'm certainly going to look into it a lot more. It definitely eased a lot of pain, which was wonderful. I also had a reading with a Vedic astrologer today because I have been through a lot of them, and they keep getting my chart wrong. But I think after looking for 33, yeah, no, I would have consciously started looking from about well, I've had readings since I was born, but I've only finally found one dude who actually could read my chart, which was wonderful. And whatever he said confirmed whatever I was saying and feeling anyway. So that was good. And he says that this ill period will come to an end. Basically, I've been in a she gonna die phase of life for the past about 2.5 years, which tallies with what I've been sharing publicly. And yeah, that's going to come to an end soon. So I'm looking forward towards happier days. He says there's still going to be an uphill struggle, but you'll be okay. But yeah, I can definitely say I've hit rock bottom in the past 2 years. But climbing upwards, finding different things, looking at guardian cats suddenly appearing out of nowhere. It was funny just as this other session started because I always look for other sources. Never assume that you are the end all be all, especially when you are a reader. So I was also looking for other sources of insight and knowledge. And when this fellow came up, this other guardian cat jumped from outside and started meowing very, very intensely. So it'll be so there's some good news. It's some good news. Still a lot of work, but good news. Very happy Monday says they've adopted you. Well, I hope not, because I think they belong to somebody. But I think they are here to help. I think they are here just to give a little bit of moral support. Vivi says, hello, Dr. V. Hi, Vivi. Vici says, it sounds like a lovely blessing. It's amazing. Yes, yes, it's a good thing. Things are finally starting to move, which is good. It's been a very hard time. Then says, hello, Dr. B. Nice to catch you live. Hoping you and the family are well. We're getting there, step by step, bit by bit. Baby is currently realizing that she doesn't need to give a death stare to I'm calling them the guardian cats outside. Though, for, like I said, for a couple of nights, she was just doing this. And I was afraid she was going to like burst the blood vessel, but she's calmed down now. So she's okay. Let's see. Michi says the cats may be trying to expand their territory. Maybe. Very happy Monday says something is being released from your life. That's a death. No, no. I mean, literally, many near-death experiences in the past 2 years, like literal. So yeah, it ain't metaphorical in my case. But no, I'm still here. But there's some hope, some light at the end of the tunnel, which is good, which is good. I have to say that it's definitely because I am me and I am not the type of person who believes in bitterness or revenge. Um, it's definitely made me a better person and a better facilitator and healer. But would I have wanted to go through these past few years in this way? Not by willing choice, but it is what it is. Let's see. Candy says hello. Hi, Candy. So tell me what's going on with you, Lord. What's happening? How is everybody? Chiron says howdy. Chiron is so nice. Chiron is so sweet. Chiron's like this big cuddle fellow. And Chiron, how have you been doing looking at your research on the music thingy I sent you? Vivi says, can you please tell us what we'll be seeing in the next 6 months or so? Like, will there still be turmoil like we're seeing now? Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. We are actually going to be seeing a lot more turmoil this year, Vivi. It's a very volatile year. Not as, I mean, let me put it this way. The past few years have been volatile. This year, it feels more like eruptions that have already happened. You're just building on things that have already come to light. So, like even what's happening in the Ukraine, it's not like people didn't know it was going to happen. It's been building up. So, a lot of things are going to be coming to light this year. Now, if you're doing what you need to be doing and you're not under some bizarre astrological transit, you should be okay, right? But collectively speaking, people haven't woken up enough. I mean, when I follow public events, or even if I'm looking at people, I don't really look at that individual. I look at what that individual is representing. And what I see is that people are being, some people are getting very narrow, very nationalistic, very much focused on what they want, And then there are people who are opening their hearts. And this is the cleft that's happening right now in the world. And we're only going to be seeing that deepening. So no respite this year. You just have to keep working at it. And I know I've been saying this consistently, but that is the truth. Whenever I told you something, just to make it sound comfortable, we we just need to keep at it, honey. That's what this year is going to be. Do your due diligence. Don't ignore the signs. Do what you need to do to make a change in your life. This is a year of change. Super Ham Ham says, hi, friend. Hi, Super Ham Hams. Very happy Monday says, thank you for your candor. Most welcome. Michi says, yikes. That's why I said, Michi, take some time. Take some time. Sabine says, greetings. Greetings to you. I like the snail. Super Ham Ham says, it was a very hard week. I believe you. I mean, we're going to be seeing a little bit of an energy shift coming up around the 6th or so, because around that time, we're going to be seeing Mars and Venus together moving into the sign of Aquarius, which is why I told you I didn't want to celebrate the start of the year in January. I told you I'm only going to celebrate it in the first week of March. Because as Mars and Venus finish up in the sign of Capricorn, I think it's whatever path, it's a very critical and liminal moment that humanity is in right now. And whatever path we are going to choose for us, that we are actually going to be seeing something set in the next few days. So, Lucky Cat agrees. You can hear Lucky Cat. She's agreeing in the background. She sounds like a Mogwai, for those of you who remember Gremlins. Um, let's see. Uh, what does I say? Oh, Chiron says, it's been going not far too into it yet, but appreciative and sentimental. Oh, very happy Monday says, may your healthfulness increase in as tangible as the ways your recent experiences. I hope so, and thank you for the good wishes. Seashell says, good morning, good morning. A says, XO, XO, XO. Super Ham sends hearts. Yeah, Ned, does Lucky want to go on the live? Yeah. Time to give her food. Michi says, don't feed her past 12 a.m. Michi, it's 4:28 p.m. here. Remember, I'm on the other side of the world. But yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. Lucky Cat has a very sweet little meow. She's not even a meow. As you can hear, she's more a bird than a cat. She goes, but anyway, I speak lucky language. So, whereas my little fellow, Aniki, do you want to say hi to people? No, she's looking outside at the other cats. One fellow is just asleep outside. I don't know who these fellows are. We've been here for a year and they have never come up, but it's nice. Um, let's see. Poetic Nature says, hello, Dr. B. Haven't caught alive in a while. Hi, hi. She says, insomnia. Understood. Bibi says, do you see yourself doing any offline events or something like that? I think when my health improves and I'm got mobility again, and I can actually walk for 5 minutes without needing to sit down, I definitely would like to go around the way I used to and facilitate more prayer groups and just meet people and so on and so forth. But yeah, I would like to do that when my health permits. Because I used to be a traveler. Right now, as much as I love shitting with my baby, who will, of course, be very upset if I'm not around, but she will forgive me when it comes to work. She allows work, no other reasons. Um, she's like, what? You want to go sit where and hang out by yourself? No, 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 no. You have to come. But if it's work, she understands. Um, so I will be hopefully doing more traveling when the health improves. Michelle says, I am here. Oh, no, 1 a.m. here in Utah. Same here about my health. I lost my Dern cane. What does that mean? What is a Dern cane? But either way, I hope you feel better soon. Um, okay, I'm just keeping an eye on it. Aniki, what are you doing? Aniki, 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 get out of there. What are you doing? Mommy has to be vigilant. Constant vigilance. Anyway. Oh, sorry, my cane to help me walk. Understood, understood. I actually was thinking of getting one because things have been getting that bad, but that's one thing that I just couldn't bring myself to do. And hopefully, with this new therapy I'm trying out, I won't need one. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so tell me what's going on in your lives. What's happening? What's happening? We're just doing a general hello neighbor today. None of my, I not quite fire and brimstone mode, but close to it, I guess. None of that today. Let's just keep it light and breezy. I mean, I feel like, with respect to the global situation and events, I feel like I've done as much as I can do in terms of spiritual work that is safe. So now I feel like I can go, okay, moving on to things. Scandy says, yeah, health stuff has been flaring up for me too, hoping for more ease in the near future. I hope that for all of us. There's a, ah, in some sense, like this is one thing I have found through adversity. And okay, I see the other white cat back. Okay. This is one thing I have found through adversity. Um, it really shows you the kind of person that you are, you know? Because when you face bad circumstances in life, you get choices. You can either become a super bitter person, you can become a super angry person, you can become a super defeated person, you can be a kind person, you can be a patient person, you can be a person who doesn't give up, or you can just be resentful and hopeless and frustrated. There are many options that people have when, when they face adversity, no matter what kind of adversity comes. Um, uh, but I think I don't want to call it a reason, but I think one of the decision points that sets in when you go through periods of illness or periods of suffering is determining the kind of person you are, you know? And I think at the very least, I found out more about who I am. So, that's a good thing. But again, hopefully it eases. Super Ham Ham says, how's the plants in the yard? We have just let them do their thing. It's currently a forest. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Can you see it? Do you see this forest? And you can see the other white cat outside. That is a forest right there. Yeah. So that's a forest. That's how the plants are doing. They are doing their thing. The major thing I like about this house is how nature just kind of went, nope, send them back up, which is nice. In fact, that was the reason why I took this house, to be honest. I found out that, there was a lot of beautiful fruit trees that were cut down, and the people were very upset, and I could feel the land was upset. And in fact, the soil here was covered up by concrete, and I didn't like it. And of all the reasons, that was why I wanted to take this house, which has had its problems. But I wanted to give a little bit of nurture to the land here, and that has come through in a big way. But that is what being a priestess is about. Sometimes you don't know if it's going to work, but you just try and help. Very Happy Monday says astral travel doesn't require physical mobility. It doesn't, but it's probably not a wise thing to do at this time because right now is the equivalent of astral traffic jam. So I'm happy staying in my body. Poetic Nature says that the worst sinus infection that lasted for 4 weeks. Jeez. I just started to feel better. It was so debilitating, I had a hard time functioning. I hear you. I hear you. I'm glad you're feeling better. Mary, the fire fairy, says, hello from Pennsylvania. I too have been feeling like I need a cane and unable to stand for long. Meeting with a neuromuscular doctor soon. Been using humor and tapping into my inner light. ND. I don't know what that is. Check out that bioresonance thing I mentioned. It really, really helped. It's super, super accurate. But if you're interested, check that out because that really did help. A says, what do you mean by things are cementing in next week from an invitation or big choice? I don't understand the question, but basically people are choosing which way. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Haruki on camera. Did you see that? But basically it's a time where people are deciding which road they want to set, with Mars and Venus finally leaving Capricorn. That's what people are deciding. That's when people are saying, this is the structure I commit to, this is the path I'm going to take. It's a big road. It's a very big road, or rather big choice on the road, I should say. Mary says nice garden. It's more of a little bit of wilderness, but I like it. Super Ham Ham says I love the plants. Fantastic. um A says, I got two new hips since December while recovering, having to keep news off. News? Okay. Very happy Monday says, beautiful forest, looks dreamy for recuperating. It's cool. It's cool. I like it. I like it. We probably have to trim a little bit of the tree because it's hanging over, and that's not strictly allowed by municipal laws, or to tie it a little bit so it grows in a different direction, but it is very pretty. I like it. Um that Sarah says, hi, Dr. B. Happy to be here. Will need to be out of my home end of next week and have absolutely no idea what or where is next. Follow your feet, honey. Sometimes when you're in that situation, you just got to follow your feet. Super ham hams, cat emojis. Mary says, thank you. I missed the beginning about bioresonance. I'll check it out now. Meow. Meow. Lots of cat comments. Candy says it's burning season here in Southeast Asia. Have been inside with windows closed for the past week. Temperature today is 99 C. I think you mean 99 Fahrenheit. Natural sauna. Here in Malaysia, it's raining and there's going to be flash floods in the capital again because it's raining, raining, raining. I saw lots of vertical lightning yesterday. It's very, very wet here. Let's see. Michi says, I'm conquering systemic racism and abuse of authority in my current area, upstate New York. Well done. Breaking free from other stereotypes and not giving up in the process. Learning to actually trust. Good job. Nice. Zen still says, what are the kitties doing to you guys? Up to mischief. Sounds like they have more of a social life than me right now. It's been a blessing being able to watch their development over time. Well, the kitties, let's see. What is Hanuki, like I said, is patrolling. She wants to know who are these fellows and why are they sitting in her porch, because Hanuki is the boss. Lucky is the baby boss. And yeah, people love seeing the girls. Like whenever we go in the car to our great errands, which is usually laundry, people love looking at the girls, especially Lucky. They call her Chomot. Chomot means like a patch, or a little like a mark or a smudge, because she's got this thing by her nose. And she's always the little star wherever she goes. Hanuki, people look at her and I think they just don't know how to handle her vibe. They know she's very beautiful, but they also know she's watching. She's watching. That's why she's mommy's girl. But yes. They also have very strong opinions on things, and they communicate their opinions very clearly. They also do not like tuna. Yeah, they don't like tuna. Sometimes it's hard to look for food because they don't like tuna. What kind of cats don't like tuna? But they don't. They're little gourmands, I have to say. Super Ham Ham says monsoon season. We used to have seasons. I don't know what we have now. Happy Dreamy Monday says, dreamy compared to my plastic representation of a plant. Thanks, Akia. Okay. I got you. Yeah, yeah. I got you. There's a big acacia, a Tasmanian acacia that grew out here from nowhere. I have a connection in Tasmania that makes sense, but I don't know where it came from here. And then there's a big, huge noni and a third plant, I'm not sure, but there's a huge noni tree that's at least 10 foot tall at this point. They all grew within the past year. And that's got a lot of fruit and attracts a lot of squirrels and birds. So, you know. Diane Techik, not sure how to say your name, but Diane says, hi, Dr. B. I ran across your videos a while back, and this is the first time I got you live. I love your perspective and your cats and insights. There's a group meditation next week. I think I'm going to share your last video. Do your best. Not everyone is going to want to hear it. People don't like being challenged, but you know. Vivi says it's climate change now. It is. It really is. Michi says, do they like salmon? No. Sometimes. Sometimes. We can't predict. Yeah, they are very odd cats. Mary says, oh, that's sweet. You take your kitties with you for running errands. I do the same mostly with my deaf cat, Princess, whom I taught sign language. It's so cool. Does she sign back? I mean, how does she respond? Michi says, it's beautiful. Diane says, I'm concerned about approaching this with the best intent. Uh, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But sometimes when people are very convinced they know what's best for someone else, you can't really contradict them without raising a big issue. In fact, they'll just turn a blind eye or they just block you, you know. But you can try. I would actually suggest just raising the issue with whoever is facilitating it directly rather than making it a public point, because if someone's already committed to a group meditation, they're going to want to save their face. So you can share it on your profile. You can also suggest it to them privately. Otherwise, you're going to have an unnecessary target on your back. Smruti sends hugs. Hi, hi. Michi says, wow, they're individual spirits in cat bodies. Very much so. Very much so. Did I tell you guys about the story of a cat I met on an island? So Spirit was telling me to go somewhere, and here I am limping away, can't really walk. So I went with my brother and the two girls, and we took the girls on a boat, and we went to this island somewhere. And I think this was during the new moon in February. It was all super cheap. Nobody was buying anything for Chinese New Year, so we went to an island, and on the island there were two cats. One was named Chomel, who is small little girl. Chomel means cute, and her brother's name was Bobby, also a small little fellow. They're both 3 months old. But there was this black cat that, I kid you not, looked like something out of Faust and Hans Christian Andersen put into a body of a cat. It did not look like a cat. It looked like something. And mind you, we do not have a prejudice against black cats, white cats, any cats. But you could see these eyes and you could see this was not a cat. So this was something very, very different. And even the aura was completely wrong. There were multiple entities associated with that cat. So this tiny little ball of fluff called Chomel, which is cute, and she's this little cute, beautiful little Persian cat. Again, she's about 3 months old. And this other cat is an older fellow. And he keeps trying to go and find Chomel, who's not even sexually viable yet. And he keeps trying to go and mate with Chomel. And they've been chasing this cat. This poor little girl has been terrorized for a month. And I'm sitting here thinking, what are you people doing? And when one time I was just standing there and I saw this other cat and he looked at me and I started praying and he ran. So I knew this is not a normal animal. There's something wrong here. Yes, Lucky, we're telling the story about the cat. You can come and listen also if you want. So, so I started praying and I offered protection to the brother. The poor little boy was getting beaten up every night trying to protect his sister. And finally, whilst we were there, they actually did something about it, because this other cat, this black cat with very green eyes, and again, not trying to fall into the stereotype here. It's one of those unfortunate cases where it fits a stereotype. Uh, I know, I know some black cat with green eyes was absolutely beautiful, very nice souls, but this fellow had something wrong, and he screamed the way like a child being murdered in the forest. And we are sitting on this island with these two caretakers and these two cats, hearing these screams in the middle of the night. And I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so, all right. So we went there, and finally, so I gave some extra protection to the little boy and gave some protection to the little girl. And finally, they caught this other cat. And he was very violent, but they caught him. I mean, yeah, she's a baby. She's not even equipped for that. But she was so angry. She had this tiny little nose, and she scrunched up her nose so furiously and so angrily. as if saying, "What the hell are you doing?" So, but she was very, very happy once that was resolved and that cat was actually, transported back to the mainland. But yeah, it was a very powerful experience actually. I mean, my brother and I try to send healing to whatever cats we see, if they don't have homes or if they're ill or something. But I could literally feel the energy of the situation shift when someone actually stepped in and said, "You are not a cat. There's something inside this that's wrong." But hopefully that fellow also got some healing. But little Chomil, little cuteness, was safe. So, that was my story of the February new moon. I'm wondering if Spirit dragged me out all the way there with the cats on a boat to an island just to go and help these fellows. But yeah, yeah. We get dragged all over the place sometimes for animals, which are people, really. Anne says, I get to catch you on YouTube live thanks to Instagram. YouTube isn't showing me the notifications. I know, I'm sorry, but I don't really know what to do about it. But thank you very much for being so diligent. Anne says the rock star paid an appearance. Yes, yes, yes. If you go back early in the video, you can see Hanuki standing up as well because we've got two little cats that have suddenly come and decided that they want to chill out here in the porch. So my little rock star is very tension, but because she's very territorial. But anyway, Diane Tekik says my first cat Orbit adopted me. Oh, I think he was my little soulmate. I was very devastated when he died, but it was very peaceful. I can understand that. Um, okay. Still says very strange. Poor kitty. Yeah, it was not normal. Not at all. Not in the slightest. With respect to the experience we saw on the island. BB says, do you think this is a time to look forward to personal growth? Yeah, definitely. I would say, in terms of personal growth, I mean, it depends how you define it. You get to make choices. What type of person are you? What are your values? What do you stand for? What are your morals? What do you feel is worth pursuing? Are you looking into new ways of doing things? Are you looking into groups of people that you can communicate with? Are you trying to find a bigger sphere of influence in the world where you can do some good in the world? Yeah, you can do all of those things right now. No matter what else is happening on the grand scheme of the planet, you still have to live your life. In the here and now, there is always the opportunity for you to do something different. Um, Very happy Monday says Chomil is cute outside and tough inside. Very much so. I can't cuss someone. I'm just not built for cussing, but that face. Yeah, that face. Yeah. Michi said, haha, spirit sent bad signals. Pretty much, pretty much. Mary the Fire Fairy says, thank you for sharing the story about the island cats. The cat must have been shadowed because I rescued a 3-year-old feral cat from the forest 4 months ago. He's also black with green eyes and sweet. See, I know sweet fellows who have that description, but this one was like out of some nightmare fairy tale book. You could tell. You could tell. Okay, now I'm going to try and pronounce this name. Please excuse me if I mispronounce it. No, Notokozo Wambui. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Says, I finally catch you live. Lots of love and resonance from the UAE. Lots of love and resonance. Mrs. Razmataz sends hearts. So today we're just doing our usual hello neighbors, sharing stories, talking about general stuff, hanging with the community. Nothing overly serious. You would have heard it by now. You can go back to the beginning to listen to some excellent cat stories and fielding a couple of general questions. um, Michi says that was good. Yeah, I appreciate that. So the rest of my day today is going to be spent managing to go to the laundry, which as you know, is our big outing in this household. And It's not a euphemism for anything sinister. It's just literally going to the laundry. And Yeah, and then trying to do some tier 23 and just trying to work with the body and see what happens. Miss Razmiktas says sending you lots of energy for the errands you plan for your day. Thank you very much. So if there's nothing else, we can wrap up this session of Hello Neighbor, Cat Stories edition. Well, there's always cat stories here, but you know what I mean. Um, so I'm giving you a little bit of time, see if there's anything else. Ah, okay. All right. Diane Tessick. Okay. I was very interested in the esoteric occult history around Ukraine. Any suggestions on resources to read? Thank you for the pronunciation guide. Um, well, most people wouldn't know it, but I would say you can also look at sacred sites in the area because it's not just focus on that one point, though that is a focal point. But you can also look at, for example, look at other stuff in the region, the Bosnian pyramids, admittedly a little further away. You can also look at various saints in the area. I basically just research things to death. So I look at very specific little histories of places. And I would say if you're particularly interested, you can look at the Marian pilgrimages sites. So basically look at sites of miracles of the visitation of Mary and so on and so forth. That's a good thing that I think you can find. You can also look at the histories of Liv and its particular role in the development of European culture. That's very interesting. So, Google is what I do, man. Google. Very happy Monday says, I'm going to try to think of laundry euphemisms now, lol. Mrs. Rasmutas says, Dr. Vairavi, any suggestions when it comes to holding space for people to work on letting go of anxiety, etc., specifically right now? It depends on their modality. Because sometimes, somatic healing for others. Okay, what makes this different from the other types of healing or the other cases that you would take? Why are you asking the question specifically to those who are working through anxiety right now? Is it because there's a lot of cases, or is there something specific that comes up around this issue that isn't part of the usual pattern that you see with your clients or people who you are helping? So if I need a little bit more intel on that before I can answer or provide a perspective. Jasmine says, Anuki, what are you doing? Anne, I think Anuki is in the back, Anne. The naughty girl is in the back. The side kitchen. Um, okay. Jasmine says, any advice on healing anxiety and PTSD? I think very importantly is to look at the different therapies that are available, but to also understand that some of the things that are available deal with the symptoms. And that's very good and very important, but you also need to look at the root cause. uh, Sometimes it is something that's on the basis of what's happened in this lifetime. And so going through talk therapy and so on can actually help you safely look at and revisit those situations. However, sometimes the issue is linked to a previous lifetime, not always, but previous lifetime. And there you would actually need something of a more of a spiritual perspective or a spiritual nature of healing. But I would say try and do the work in the here and now first before you look at that deeper level or deeper layer. Diane says perfect, like Medugorja in Croatia. I don't know how to pronounce that. Eastern European words are very difficult for me to pronounce because they have different rules. So apologies if I get it wrong. I have started trying to learn the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. That's also proving a little challenging, but I try. Very happy Monday says healthful blessings to all the healing neighbors. Thank you very much. Mrs. Razmita says, I notice increasing dysregulation in the general population with all the turmoil and energies transitioning and find it hard to stay grounded as I hold space. Okay. So this is more to do with you rather than your clients. And this is not like it's your fault, you. No, it's not that. It means to say that you may be approaching certain limits of what you can do. So, because there is going to be rising anxiety across the board, and that's not likely to die down anytime soon. So, you have to look at how you are managing your personal responses to this, and maybe even limit the cases or have space out the work that you do if you are doing this professionally, that's probably the best way that you can handle it for yourself, because this sounds like a you thing. The anxiety in the population is going to be there, but you are trying to engage with it, so you need to look at how you deal with it. Zen says, I feels as though I'm being led to distance myself from family members who are determined to project their ideas of who I think I am onto me. Seems though they start contacting me more when I do. That tends to be the case when they do that, though. So Jasmine says, makes sense. Thanks. No worries. Mrs. Rasmatas says, so good to know I need to analyze boundaries. That's one thing, but also capacity. Because any kind of healing work takes a toll. No matter how distant you are, no matter how much boundaries you put, you're still a human being. Like after some clients, I literally will have to take the day to recover, especially when I'm dealing with someone who's gone through horrific amounts of trauma, because I'm a person who feels. So you have to look at your personal process in dealing with the after effects of your work. It's not just about facilitating out there, but you as a human being are also responding. Um, let's see. Diane Tessick says, and blessings and much love to this community. I appreciate you all, and thanks, Dr. B, for building this wonderful community and sharing your knowledge and insights. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Graciela sends emojis. Nice. Um, Okay, Zen says so true. Very happy Monday says, may I ask, how do you know a Vedic reader is good qualitative assessment? Same way I know if a Western reader is good or not. One, they actually need to think. Two, they cannot be reading second-hand resources of astrology. They have to develop their own understanding and interpretation. Three, they need experience. Four, they cannot just jump to the first conclusion that is easy for them. Five, they actually need to be willing to listen to the client's details and questions, especially when, it's a very complicated scenario. Six, they actually need to have, I would say, mental state, which is harder to assess unless you're in the field when you're dealing with something a lot more traumatic. Sometimes you have to be softer with the client, sometimes you have to be very tough with the client, especially when they go into a psychotic state. But that doesn't often happen with in all readers. That's a bit more of an advanced thing, but it's the same in but with the Vedic system, there's an additional thing that people can very easily look at the superstition of the system as opposed to the mathematics of it. And I look at both. I look at the mathematics of both system, and I find that what I intuitively come up to is more or less what a Vedic reader would say anyway, if they're a good one. If they just stop halfway and they don't look at the deeper mathematics of the system, they can actually give you a very wrong interpretation. So, it takes a while to actually look and be able to know if someone is hitting the mark or not. But yeah, it's the same thing with Western astrologers. I've met so many people who've given me shit advice, but same thing. You really have to listen and look, and that's why you always have to make sure that you don't give your power over to an astrologer or reader or a channeler, no matter how desperate you are, you know and because people can get it wrong. That's what it is. Anybody can get it wrong. Sometimes you're just not the right fit. Sometimes there's a whole lot of interference in your session because the client is being hit by god knows what. Sometimes you don't have the experience, and that's all okay. But the moment someone says astrologer, facilitator, priest, priestess, reader, there's automatically a pedestalization effect that goes there. And it is important to respect people for their work, yes, but nobody is God. And that's very important to remember. If you feel an astrologer is trying to put themselves in the position of, I know this is the way you do this, that's the way you do that, I'm better than this, I know everything about you and your life, I can tell you everything that's going to happen, run away fast. That's what I would say. And if you are born a woman and you identify with the feminine aspects of experience, that system can be very limiting, especially if you have a reader who is very patriarchal. So that's also something that needs to be considered. Non binary and gender fluid people may also have a harder time finding. In fact, in either system, there's a lot of essentialism in either system. So, yeah. Non-binary people may find a harder time finding a reader who can actually look at the fluidity of that. And to be fair, I don't consider myself an astrologer. I am the sky priestess. It's a very different approach to astrology. Astrology literally woke up in my head and intuitively showed me this is the way you go, this is what you do, this is what you learn. So it's not really the same way that people would look at a chart. So it's not, my process is very different. So let's see. Da, 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 da. Then again, I geek out about the mathematics as well, but that's just me as me. Mrs. Rasmutas says, "Thank you, Dr. Vairi, for your suggestions. It really helps sending love to you and everyone. Most welcome." Sabine says, been, been looking into the upcoming nodal shifts, especially since it will be shifting to my natal placement over the course of the next year. The more I learn, the deeper the plot seems. That should be on a mug. The more I learn, the deeper the plot seems. I like it. I like it. Mrs. Rasmutas says, "You are so appreciated and a beautiful light for us laborers of care." Much appreciated. Zansil says, "Thank you and blessings to everyone." Vivi says, "I had to run from a similar person who was getting into astrology and was an old friend, and I ran after a year of gaslighting from him. And thank goodness I found you." You're most welcome, Vivi. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's just astrology, it's just that astrology has a more occult power to it. Um, but anyone who has that, you find the same thing even with psychologists and therapists. So I'm not just putting this on Vedic astrologists. It's also Western astrologists. It's also therapists. It's anyone who has that kind of a relationship with the client. If you feel you know more than the other person and you browbeat them with it, then you are not fit to do that job. It's that simple. It doesn't mean to say that you should not respect your own knowledge, but you should also know that there is a difference between facilitating a person to find a better part of life or trying to crush them under your boot. That's the difference. Okay, so having said that, rounding it up, sending lots of love to everybody. Take care, very many blessings. Check out bioresonance therapy for those of you who are suffering from chronic and impossible to diagnose health conditions. I can attest to the fact that I can see it actually working. And yeah, ciao ciao for now. Bye bye. Oh.